Ho, ho, ho. Coming up on this episode of Mac Guy's Garage, Ryan and I discussed, well, you guessed it, 'tis the season. We chat about our favorite Christmas carols, TV specials, and light show mishaps. Grab a cold one and stay tuned. The garage is now open. Sharing. See, that was, I got to figure out how to do that better, but anyways, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well, Mr. Chris Santa Mac Guy.
Wait.
There we go. Now we're ready. But as you can see, I can't tell if I'm in Oompa Loompa land. I might be in Whoville, but I'm definitely not at home right now. So I'm enjoying myself in my little snow globe. How about you?
I am enjoying things. Well, as you can see, the house is all decorated. We'll get into more of that later in the, during our happy hour chat.
Sounds good. Yep, one of our several topics tonight. But yeah, can't complain. Can't believe that we are 13 days away from Christmas.
Oh, yeah. It's climbing up fast. I wish my jacket would. That's the only bad thing with virtual, all this tech in the world, and it can't, like compensate for stuff like that.
Yeah, fair enough. Or get logistics right so that my last few presents can get here on time.
Yeah, that would be a good thing. That would be a very good thing. The here up close and personal.
Yes.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, I got a frog caught in my throat. And no, it's not Kermit the Frog.
Yeah. Although it could be Kermit from the Muppet Christmas Carol or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, hey, nice one. All I could say is cheers to that one.
Yeah, cheers. Yes. A very near and dear movie to me and my family. So I had to sneak that in there somehow, some way.
Well, hey, speaking of Christmas specials and TV specials and movies, let's have a little bit of fun with that.
Perfect.
Why don't you run away with that one?
Yeah, so in traditional coaster ninja fashion, I can't come to the table without creating some sort of list. It's a bad habit of mine, so bear with me, audience, as I've picked out 3 entries for each of our topics tonight. And since we're kind of focus on TV specials, I guess we want me to list all 3 and then talk about them, or do we want to go one a piece back and forth? Or
hey, you're in charge right now.
All right. Well, I will give you my.
You run 3. With it how you want.
I will give you my 3, a brief explanation why, and then kick it back over to you. I don't know how many you have, but I can't do these things without making lists.
I'm just gonna fly by the seat of my pants tonight.
Fair enough. Okay. So I'm going to start from 3 to 1 because I always like to save the best for last. So 3 for me. Yes, some of these are pretty stereotypical choices, but they had a profound impact on my life, either as a child or they still do now, or like one of them, I'd never even watched one until I met my wife. So I give credit to one of these to my wife. But number 3, coming in 3rd place, I have to go with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Is probably one of the ones that we watched the most. as children, for sure. And we did not have the VHS version or anything like that until much later in life. We watched all of these when they appeared on TV during the season.
TV,
so,
yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so like I'm one of those people that will watch these even though I have them on DVD now and remember when every single commercial came on traditionally. I'm like, oh, I can feel it coming on. I know when the first commercial is. I know when the second commercial is. So yeah, Rudolph was really important. A lot of great songs. As we've talked before in the past, I'm a big music guy, so you're going to see several themes emerge tonight from my list. I think Rudolph has some of the best songs of any Christmas show, TV special, movie that's ever been created. Indelible songs that live on for the rest of time, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm not going to argue on that one. That would probably be one of the top animated Christmas specials that you gotta watch every year. So I would totally agree on that one.
And I totally agree. And then one of the reasons why it sticks so closely to my heart is because Rudolph's, for all intents and purposes, is like made out to be this loser, geek nerd in the beginning, right? This is the story of my life, Chris. So I felt Rudolph's pain. But then in the end, Rudolph becomes the savior. And I have become the savior of nothing yet, but I hope one day maybe that will be my fate as well. So
well, I guess whenever you speak like that, I'm kind of in the, I guess you could say, in the same category as that as well too. I usually pull the short straw on a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I think I felt the most at home when he was stuck on the island of misfit toys.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Exactly. So that's my number 3. My number 2, I actually have to give credit to my wife, because I never watched this as a child. I didn't even know it existed. We weren't big Garfield fans or anything like that, the cat. So when my wife and I got together and we started hanging out a lot, we've been together for 9 years now. One of the first Christmases we were together, she said, let's watch a Garfield Christmas. This is a movie, a TV special that I always watched growing up as a kid. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Not a big Garfield fan. Watched a handful of the weekly TV shows when they were out and thought it was okay. Watched it. Absolutely fell in love with it right away. Great message behind the story behind family and everything like that, and how he sort of makes the grandmother's, day or weekend by reconnecting her with those letters that she found from her deceased husband and everything like that. Really cool ending to that. Again, some really catchy songs in it, but just really, really fun and funny, because Garfield's sarcasm, I think, has grown on me over the years. So yeah, I have to give my wife credit and go with that one as number 2. Any thoughts on that one?
Yeah. Well, you were saying about the music in there, and you can't forget about to mention Lou Rawls. And I forget who the other singer was on it, but both of them were very good. So I would agree with that. But also too, if you remember in the one part where he goes to his mom's house, and whenever he goes to his mom's house, she's got like food laid out all over the place, and he goes, can I have a piece of pie? And she rattles off like 5 different pies.
Yeah.
That's kind of like how my mom is. She'll like, there's like my family, my brother's, kids and him, and then my aunt, and that's about it. But she makes enough food sometimes for, like double that amount.
Yeah.
It's like, Mom, just scale it back. You don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't have to go nuts on it.
No, definitely. Yeah. That is an excellent point, and reminds me of both sides of my family as well. And I think another endearing point for me is, especially now that I'm an adult and have lived in or around a major city now for a solid almost 15 years, when I go from the city back to the farm, Not that I grew up on a farm or anything like that, but I did live in a very rural, small town. So, and my wife and I, we sojourned back to our hometowns during the Christmas holiday, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So I think that resonates with me when I watch them actually going to the farm and spending time with the family after that as well. So it's almost like going home,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, from what you've said in the past, you your Christmas is pretty much spent, you still enjoy, with different families, but you're kind of like traveling
On the
an
go.
awful lot.
Yes.
Kind of like the movie Four Christmases with Vince Vaughn and
Yes.
I can't think of what her name is. But
And
yeah,
either. I can't remember either now.
say talk amongst yourselves. I think
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna be looking that one up here. But yeah, that's I
While you look that up, though, yes, spend a lot of time in the car because we go multiple places, but, and we'll get to this topic as our next topic, plenty of time to listen to several different tunes in between stops of the Christmas variety, of course. So more on that later. But yes, definitely spent a lot of time in the car and definitely traveled a lot of places.
And to answer your question, it was Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon.
Oh my gosh, how could I forget that? I secretly had like a massive crush on her when I was doing that. How the hell did I forget that? Oh well.
Yeah, it's a funny movie that you see both sides of the track. Well, yeah, you see all four sides of the track.
Yeah, definitely.
And if there's someone out there that hasn't watched it, well, you got to watch it. It's funny.
Yeah, definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. Okay, so that brings me to my number one, which anyone who knows me should probably not be surprised. But I have to go with the original How the Grinch Stole Christmas as my number one.
Oh, bah humbug.
Yeah, exactly, right? If my name didn't sort of like give a big old hint as to where I was going with that. But no, seriously, it's for other reasons. As we have discussed in the past, I'm a major horror fan. So one of my favorite things about The Grinch is that it was narrated by Boris Karloff, who was very famous for portraying several legendary Universal monster characters in the 1930s. Most
Wow.
famous for depicting Frankenstein's monster in 1931's Frankenstein, and then reprising that role again in 1935's The Bride of Frankenstein.
Wow.
So once I found that out later in life, and I became sort of this horror movie fan, I couldn't. There was never any TV Christmas special, cartoon, animated, real life, whatever, that was ever going to take away The Grinch from being the number one spot. Also, is there a better voice than Thurl Ravenscroft singing the Grinch theme? I don't think so. This is a perfect cast singer for that.
Exactly. Exactly on that one. I would totally agree. And I have to ask, you were saying about the Grinch. Have you seen the newer movie version of it?
So, funnily, we started to watch it last year, and I think it was one of those nights where we were just too tired and exhausted to finish it, but did not actually finish it. Are you talking about the one where Benedict Cumberbatch sort of plays him, I believe? Yeah. Haven't seen the whole thing yet. Started it, kind of liked it, but never actually finished it and went back to it. Shame. I need to finish that.
You get the finger wag.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it definitely was. I thought it was. Whenever I saw the trailer for it, I was like, okay, it looks good. Want to go see it. Watched it and was like, oh, that's on it. That's a definite instant classic.
Oh wow! So, okay,
at least for me, because one of you were saying number one. Your number one is How the Grinch Stole Christmas. It may not. I don't know if you want to, thread the needle, I guess you could say, or win by a nose, like photo finish. I'd probably have 5 number ones, for me or something like
Yeah,
that. There's no wiggle room in between. Yeah.
fair enough.
So but it's definitely worth watching, because I think uh Cumberbatch does a wonderful job at it, and they
Right.
don't get into anything goofy. They just still keep it lighthearted, animated, and it's not overly computer animated. I
Yeah.
don't think like
Yeah.
Japanese anime, but it's kind of like the Charlie Brown movie or
Okay.
the
Okay.
Peanuts movie. I mean, um, so it's still obviously hand drawn animation is always going to be my favorite,
Right.
but this type of animation is not bad at all. It
Okay.
everything is really good.
So dare I ask, because I feel like, and not to go down this rabbit hole too much longer, but we've talked about two of the Grinches. What about the third? How do you feel about the live action one with Jim Carrey?
Jim Carrey's always good. I mean, I don't doubt that, but I don't know. I can't just something like that I always grew up watching the animated version. I just can't wrap my head around uh a live version of it.
Okay.
I
Okay. That's
mean,
fair. I get it.
it's not, I don't like, oh, that's the worst thing. I just can't, it doesn't get me interested.
Mhm.
Like it could be on and I'll go click. I'm like, it it doesn't it can't earn my time, to watch.
Okay. See, that's
So,
fascinating to me because, um, I would probably be lying to you if I said it's not. It's probably one of my favorite Christmas full length movies. I love the hell out of that movie, and I think Jim Carrey does a phenomenal job
oh
in it.
yeah.
And I think the set design is amazing. Ron Howard, was the director of that, and I feel like they made it its own thing. Which I'm with you. I was a skeptic at first. I was sort of like, you can't touch perfection, but they made something completely unique and awesome out of that experience. And the makeup was really well done. Like I said, the set design, again, the makeup artist, a legendary makeup artist from the horror genre that came in and did all the makeup for the Who's and then the Grinch, of course. His name was Rick Baker. So I have special ties to that movie too. So I was just curious to see where you
Yeah.
fell on that.
No, I mean, that like I always say, if you can, obviously you can like whatever you like, and all the more power to you. And hey, that's great if you like it. I'm not getting on it. It just, I mean, I could never wrap my head around like a lot of the Disney movies are going from animation to live action, and it's like, no, no, it doesn't sit well with me. It's kind of like swallowing a large pill, like when you're, ibuprofen or something, and it gets stuck in your throat. Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's like, yeah, I don't know.
I get it. I get it.
So
Understandable. Understandable.
it's you can go live action and then go to cartoon, but I don't know. It's like pet to me. It's petting cat the wrong way, I guess you could say. Yeah, you pet it the one way, it's like, "Oh, okay." You pet it the wrong way, the cat's gonna be like, "Wait a second now," and turn around and wanna scratch you. Yeah.
Yeah. Send you to the hospital.
Yeah, yeah. He'll do the cat will do a Garfield on you.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And no lasagna is going to fix that scenario, probably.
No, unless it's a big orange tabby cat, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And
All
even
right. Well,
that,
that's my
I
list. I talked too long. What about yours?
um, that's a that that I've said, but I think I said before, that, TV shows and or movies that they could probably all tie in first place, so there's uh not necessarily any specific order because there again, it's to me they're all in first place. One of the ones I definitely got to watch is, of course, the classic It's a Wonderful Life. Good old Jimmy Stewart and Donna Reed. uh it just, yeah, the cast is wonderful, and they even went they went as far as to do a radio version of it, which was kind of neat, an adaptation of it. So it wasn't like the full movie on radio form, but it was still really cool. And if you get a chance to find it and listen to it, it's really neat to listen to. But it just, yeah, it's watching that is like, kind of having peanut butter and jelly. It's just like good old, comfort food. So that would be one. The other one would be is we can't put up the Christmas tree without having on, of course, none other than National Lampoon's Vacation, Christmas Vacation. I'm sorry, I stand corrected on that, but you can't beat Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo and all the goofy stuff he does, because in some terms, I guess you could say I'm Clark W. Griswold. All that.
I was going to say, is your house on fire, clock? I'm sorry, Chris.
Yeah, so it's it just you can't set up the tree and not have it on. I mean, that's the way. That's our thing. Every year, weekend after Thanksgiving usually, and then you put that on and you get the tree out, start decorating. It's kind of like the perfect weekend on that. As for those are the two ones, two movies off the top of my head that I can think of right now. But some of the animated classics, you pointed on one, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. That's a must see during the Christmas season. The other one is, kind of like how, the Grinch is near and dear to your heart. The one that I cannot miss is Charlie Brown Christmas. That is, Charlie Brown is like, that's magical there. It's like magic in a bottle. It's like having a piece of warm apple pie with ice cream on top, vanilla ice cream on top. You got to watch it. But then there's others too, like, Garfield's Christmas, you had said about too. That's a go-to that I do every year. I mean, there's so many that I try to go through and make sure I watch. One that we actually watched last year, and I think is really fun and like it a lot, is Spirited on the Apple TV Plus with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
Yeah, that was albeit it's a musical, but it's a fun. It's kind of like how we're having fun right now. It's just a fun movie, and you got a lot of fun songs with it as well too.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that has come up several times on various lists that I've seen, or just available to stream. And I'm like, what is this? I've never heard of this. And so I have not seen it yet. So this is something that I am going to add to my list. So thank you very much for mentioning that.
See, I could go and play the trailer for us, but I don't know if we want to do that and do a copyright, type of thing.
Yeah, we'd probably get in trouble for that. But yeah.
So, but
to come back to just a couple thoughts on your list. Excellent list. Cannot argue it at all. Is there a more quotable movie, let alone Christmas movie, than Christmas Vacation? I don't think there is.
The only other one, and actually I thought of this too, is of course you got to have the classic. It's a Christmas Story.
Oh yeah,
and the one thing that sticks out in my mind is whenever he wins that that lamp, the leg lamp, and they bring it in. It's like, oh, it must be French, fragile. So that's I mean, you're talking about Christmas quotes. That's may not be a quote, but it's still like,
oh, it's something that sticks. Yeah, because it's like one of those moments. Wow, it's kind of like, wow, this guy's so dumb. He doesn't know. Yeah, it's hilarious. Or it's something that you can see your dad or your grandfather saying.
Fragile. Yeah, it's I would agree though. Christmas Vacation is probably one of the most quotable movies. You know,
It's just crazy. It's how many, I don't know. Every time the season comes around, I think that's the movie that automatically I can just recite. And depending on my mood in the day, I can pick out a quote from that movie and it reflects real life. That's the other thing about Christmas Vacation. There's a lot of hard truths in that movie that really are real life. And it's posed as a comedy, but that's real life drama sometimes.
Oh yeah.
During this time.
No arguments here. That's for sure.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah,
Well,
it's I can't think of any. I mean, like I said, the other there's zillions, I guess you could say, of TV shows and Christmas movies that I try to make it a point to watch. Probably my most played one though is It's a Wonderful Life and Charlie Brown Christmas. Um, those are probably my two go-to ones that it's not Christmas if I don't see It's a Wonderful Life about 30 times.
Yeah. Fair enough. I had started a new Christmas tradition, Christmas Eve tradition, over the last 4 or 5 years of watching that on Christmas Eve. And that's the last thing I watch before going to bed. I want to watch that at least once. Because, yeah, it puts me in a somber, appreciative mood about the season, family, life in general. Because there's some hard truths in that movie too, and it's an excellent feel-good story, both at the individual, from multiple perspectives, the individual, the family unit, and the community. So, yeah, all great.
Probably the one part in that movie that gets me every time. I've seen it, kind of like Smokey and the Bandit. I've seen it a bazillion times. But every time at the very end when, the whole town's coming in, throwing money into the pot and so forth. And then they go, and bring his brother in, the cop, Bert the cop, like, hey, I flew him all the way up, he flew all the way up here in a snowstorm, got him here as quick as I could. See, and I pretty much, pulled that line out.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
But he goes, to my big brother George, the richest man in town, and it's like you just see the look on Jimmy Stewart's face, like, huh? Yeah, it gets me every time. It's like, okay, okay, we're gonna. It's like, okay, I have some dust in my eye. I gotta.
Yeah, fair enough. I am with you. I break down essentially at the end every time as well, out of happiness and joy and all those good things.
Speaking of joy,
cheers to that.
Oh yeah, cheers. Speaking of joy, that you can't have a TV in the car with you. So what kind of music do you like? Christmas music do you like to listen to? Because there again, whether you're in the car or taking a walk, you can't be having a TV with you. Oh yeah,
right.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good point. So for this one, I can't believe I'm saying this because all right, context. There's a million Christmas carols, Christmas songs that, we could all talk about. It's really hard for me to make a list on this. And,
fly by the seat of your pants then.
Well, no, I have a list. I have a list, but I sort of narrowed it down to just a strict definition of a carol as opposed to just songs. So the carols are the ones that have that more religious or hymn element to them.
Well, we can go crazy. No, you don't have to. Here at the garage, we just kind of do whatever, wherever as long as it's, like I've said before, hobbies, tech, and of course cars, and also amusement parks. So if you, tie it all together, you can have some fun with it. Don't go like this.
Well, where I was going with this was, and it's mainly because we watched another Christmas movie recently, Home Alone. Everyone knows that. And there's a scene. There's a scene which I think is the most pivotal scene in that movie where Macaulay Culkin's character goes to the church and meets the old man, and they have that conversation in the church about his family and his situation, the old man's situation, and in the background, the old man's granddaughter is singing in a choir, and they sing multiple songs in the back during this conversation. Of course, it catches my ear every single time because they sing two of my three favorite carols, which are "O Holy Night" and "Carol of the Bells." And I can't tell you how much those songs leave an impact on me. And I am not a religious person, but there is a power and a magnitude and a gravitas with those two songs, specifically when sung by a choir or played by a symphony, that gets me every time. Now, Carol of the Bells specifically, you may know of this group, but there's a version that's done by Trans-Siberian Orchestra. If I really want the rock and roll feel to it, I can have that as well. And that's one of those songs that it doesn't matter which way you play it, what style, whether it's choir or rock, and everything in between, it's going to work for me every time. And "Oh Holy Night" is also like that as well. But the one that gets me and breaks me down is when I hear a choir sing it, because there's powerful moments in that song and harmonies in that song that strike me every time I hear it. And then if I had to pick a third one, there's one called "God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen," and there's a version done by a group called Mannheim Steamroller that my mother used to love a lot, and we listened to a lot when we were growing up. And their version of that was one of like their heaviest, rockiest kind of feel Christmas songs. It's always been one of my favorites as well. So those are three that have come to kind of stick out from a carol perspective. But I love, secular, popular Christmas songs as well too. There's so many. There's a Motown one that I think is just called "Christmas," and every time it plays, it's got a saxophone part in it, and it's just a badass song. I love that song.
I think I might know what you're talking about. I might have heard that one.
Yeah, I usually hear it every year on the radio at some point. I think it's just called "Christmas." But it's sung in the style of like Motown, and in the back half of that song, there's a really sexy saxophone part that just takes the song to the next level. So that's another one. Yeah, there's so many.
To pivot off of, all I can say is that's great. I would totally agree with you on those ones, but there's, whenever it comes to Christmas, I always like the happier stuff. I mean, like I said, don't get me wrong. Those are definitely awesome picks on that. But with music, it has, like, at least with me, I have to be in the right mood. If I'm not in the right mood, it doesn't sit well with me. It's like I can't, if I'm in a, really upset mood, I don't want to listen to this, Beethoven or Tchaikovsky or something like that. Be like, no, turn it off. But also too, if I'm in a symphony like mood, I'm not going to want to listen to Def Leppard.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't, so I have to be in the right mood. So like I said, those are definitely good picks. I'm more on, lately been on the, pop and all that type of stuff, Christmas side of things. And I don't have anything specific, I guess you could say. I mean, just pretty much, anything from, like Carrie Underwood, a lot of her songs, to Brett Eldridge. He's another good one. He does one with "Baby It's Cold Outside" with I can't think of her name. She's done some other stuff. She's a pop singer. But there's that. I mean, just, I don't. There again, I guess I should have had a list, prepared beforehand. So, I mean, because that's one of those things of, you're like, Oh, but there again, like the TV shows, there's just so many that,
Yeah.
it's like, "Oh, that's a good one," or the one I would definitely 1,000% agree with you is, Carol of the Bells by, Trans-Siberian Orchestra. I've been hearing that a couple times, like, oh, it's just kinda on point, but then also too actually, there's one in talking about that, there's one that I like a lot is, Sleigh Ride, whenever it's
Oh,
done
yeah, yeah.
by an orchestra. That it kinda it pops pop orchestra, the not necessarily symphony, but not, pop, like guitars and all that, it's kinda in
Mm.
between, and that's one of the favorite ones is I guess you could say as well too on that. Um, there's
Excellent pick. I agree wholeheartedly with that and completely forgot about it.
I mean, there's some cool ones like, Candy Cane Lane by Sia,
Mm.
that's a pretty cool, fun one. Um, uh, not Toby, oh, I can't think not Toby Keith, who's the other one? Blake Shelton. Blake
Oh,
Shelton and, I can't think of who he did the duet with, there was a Christmas song he did. I actually did it in my light show here, so that was a good one. Maybe I'll think of it, in a little bit here, but, um, yeah, I'm kinda all over the map when it comes to Christmas songs.
I just thought of another one too, and again, all excellent picks. There's really nothing. There's no wrong pick with this, right? And
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
there's 4 million more options with songs as opposed to TV, TV
Yeah.
specials and movies, right? But
Mhm.
since we were kind of talking about like a little bit of that rock and roll feel, a little bit to some of these, and I mentioned specifically sax in the one Motown song, uh, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band's version of "Santa Claus is Coming to Town" kicks Major Tushy. I love that version. And
Yeah.
talking about a sexy sax solo in the middle of that song. That's another one that just came to mind to me. But to throw it back old school as well, and this was really, really important to my Italian side. All of the crooners, the historic crooners that
Oh,
was any Christmas song
yeah.
were up there. Sinatra, Crosby, Dean Martin,
The
any of
Rat Pack, yeah.
Yep, Perry Como, any of them. They're all great.
Yeah, I actually heard a couple I don't know if it was last year or the year before, there's 1 or 2 that the Rat Pack actually did, a song, and it was like they're playing off each other. It was just I wish I could, knew what it was, of course, but, you I totally know what you mean on that.
Yeah.
You can't go I mean, I'm sure there's people out there that don't like Sinatra and all that, but hey, yeah, to me, you can't go wrong with the, chairman of the board,
No, and, like, that's the definition of classic
Oh,
right there,
yeah.
and I don't care how old you are, when it comes time this season, everybody knows those songs.
Mhm.
1, because you know the song because it's been done a million times by a million different people, but you know that version of the song because that's the famous one,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So, yeah, Andy Williams, all those guys, you know?
Mhm. Oh, yeah. I actually found the one I was thinking of, is with Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani, "You Make It Feel Like
Oh,
Christmas."
okay.
That's a fun song that I actually did, um, but the there again, like you said, we've said there's nothing that you can, you know, point to just one, "Oh, I like this song only." It's just you just spin the royal I'm getting all tongue-tied here. I gotta slow down a little bit. I've had one too many.
Yeah.
No, but, you, you just gotta spin the Rolodex, and you I mean, you could put it on shuffle, you get more at least in my view, you get more hits than not, like,
Yeah.
the one I'll I'll give you this, though, the one song that I think is overplayed way too much.
I think I know what you're gonna
There
say.
there's a lot that are overplayed, but there's one that I actually make it a point to turn it off because it's like it, well, you wanna go ahead on that? Do you know it?
My guess is Mariah Carey's song. What the hell's it called though?
I'll stop you right there.
Okay.
The,
Okay.
it would be John Lennon, I think it's Christmas or Wars Over Christmas. Something I forget what it is.
Christmas.
Yeah,
Da-da-na-na. Yeah, that
yeah.
one.
That I was like, oh nope, click. That just I'm sure there's Beatles fans that would be like, you don't wait, what? But it's just like I don't know, kind of a depressing song. It's like I I even heard John Legend do a version of it recently. I'm like, no, that still doesn't make it good.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, no, it just makes you want to put cotton in your ears, at least for me.
Interesting take. So there is a little bit of contrarian in you after all, huh?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
happen to love that song, so I can't say that I skip it, but I do understand the sentiment.
yeah.
Your sentiment, yeah.
I mean, in many years ago, it was like, okay, I'll leave it on. But every year, it's like, ah, okay, can we? You've overplayed the song, and it's like, I want Christmas. To me, Christmas time is always supposed to be fun. A fun,
Yeah,
bouncy
yeah,
time. You know, like not to pivot off too much, but I think it was Walt Disney that said it. Adults are kids only in grown up bodies. So
right.
I want to be like a kid and be like a kid on Christmas morning. So you can't you can't just race through the holiday. You got to kind of stop and go. It's Christmas time.
Yeah.
I mean, take hello. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, you make some interesting points, and I think this could circle back to is mood again, and what mood you're in. Because you're absolutely right. I picked some pretty somber songs. I would call them heavy. I guess if I'm feeling in the mood for just something heavy that hits me like a ton of bricks and gets me all in my feels, kind of like, okay, It's a Wonderful Life in a lot of ways. That's a heavy movie. It's not Christmas Vacation in so
Yeah.
many
Oh
ways.
yeah.
So,
Totally.
but if when you're in the right mindset, and it hits you the right way, I guess I could. There's a time and a place for the heavy songs, but yeah, typically more the holly jolly, more jovial, jubilant
Hmm.
types of songs are kind of what we're all craving during this time of year. Totally understand that. Totally get it.
Yeah, because the other, let's see, 10 months of the year, you're like racing around and cutting people off, and sitting in traffic, and I got to do 30,000 things. No, yes, like
Yeah,
like I've been saying lately, life's short. Have some fun. Or
agree.
another way to think of it, stop and smell the roses. Come on. Crying
Yeah,
out loud, man. Just chill. Take a chill pill and slow down for a little bit. That 5 minutes you try saving, doing 110 to get somewhere, it, it'll be there. Whether you're 5 minutes late for work, you just stay an extra 5 minutes.
right, right.
So you don't need to enjoy the season. Enjoy the season.
Yeah. Now, I will say to kind of build off of it's a slightly different topic, but to build off of your song you skip, I'm going to go a step further. And there are Christmas songs I absolutely loathe and hate. And I just three that come to the top of my head are, and they're all really like wacky ones that I just never ever understood or got, or they just seem pointless to me. And the first one is I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas. Absolutely hate that song. I hate the way it's sung. I just want to, I kind of want to, I can't say it. I just want to slap the girl because, like, you sound terrible. Stop singing. And this is a dumb topic. What are you even singing about? But
Yeah.
that one, it drives me nuts. I don't like I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus either. I think that one's meh.
Yeah, Jackson 5 did it, and I think a bunch of others have done it.
It
It's like,
is one that has a lot of renditions.
oh,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, so it's not one of my favorite ones. It's towards the bottom.
Yeah, I don't know. I just find it so annoying. It's kind of it's just a weird. It's also kind of weird as well. So That one, and then the third one is there's this. Oh man, it's I guess it's a little bit more obscure, but there's one called it's about the Italian Christmas donkey or something like that. There's one. Oh, let me.
Oh, you want to talk funny?
Dominic the Donkey is what
Ah,
it's called. I hate that song.
yeah, that's one of those. That's one of those types of songs. Like whenever the holidays are over and you're still kind of, or starting to be over, you're still kind of craving a holiday special to watch just to have it on and all that. And you're like, okay, no, they took all that holiday streaming stuff away. Oh, I can't find it there. There's nothing on TV. It's like, then you find some C flick, Christmas flick or C, or D flick
Yeah.
TV show, like D grade or C grade, and none of the A and B grade, TV or movies, are on, like, the dark and cold, version of Christmas Carol. It's like, I know it's dark and cold, but I like the different versions of it, the more up to date ones and all that. But yeah, it's that's kind of like the, what you say about Dominic the Donkey, but I guess to maybe, spin it on top, flip it over to the side too. Um, one of the fun ones would be is, at least I think that is the 12 Pains of Christmas.
Oh yeah.
That's a funny song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just you kind of, as they're going throughout the 12 days, by the time they finally get to the last one, it's like, fine, you're so smart, you put up the lights, and you just hear the kid crying on the one part, and I hate her, she's a witch. Yeah, I mean, in the beginning they're all like, holly jolly and all that. So that's probably one funny song that, it's kind of off to the side. It's, you don't hate it, you don't love it, but it's like you got to at least listen to it a couple times.
It taps into that reality of the season sometimes too, which is why it makes it funny, but also very real.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I
But
took us off tangent there with that, but I figured since you mentioned one that you skipped, I would throw in a couple that I
no,
loathed entirely.
no, hey, by all means, it's, even though, even though you said "Bah Humbug" on there, I'm sure you're still okay in my book.
Then
But
we're
but
doing okay then. That's good.
but to but to kind of round out the whole thing, you got the, TV movies, Christmas TV. To round out everything, you got the TV shows, Christmas TV shows, the Christmas movies, Christmas music. But whoa, wait a second. What about the Christmas lights?
Yes. What about those lights?
Did you put up some lights this year?
Yeah, man, I did. And let me tell you, I had some struggles this year. Um,
Well, hence the name uh, Christmas carols, or what did we say? Uh, TV,
Chris-
Christmas carols,
TV
TV,
specials
and
and light
light
show
show mishaps.
mishaps. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So,
So, what was your mishaps?
okay, I have nowhere near the intricate and voluminous exterior illumination display that you have.
I like it. I like it. You tied that in.
Yeah, right. However, I do put a decent amount out. I have to get on the roof in order to line my roof and parts of my gutters and stuff like that. So, had excellent weather this year, so everything was really really good in my favor. And I tested all the lights before I put them up.
Uh-oh.
So I put them up, and the part, uh, half of one of the strands from the middle of my garage over to the light source, the power source that I plugged them into, was completely out after I finally hooked everything up and flip the switch. And that was not the case when I tested them.
Did you make sure you had the switch that everything was plugged into on? I mean,
Dude, yes, everything was spick and span, normal, plugged in, connected correctly, and everything.
So long as you didn't kick Santa Claus's reindeers and Santa Claus off,
Yes.
sitting in the front yard.
I did not do that. I did not have the moment and then everything clicks. Unfortunately, that never happened, even though that would have been amazing if they automatically turned on. Trust me, I tried multiple times, and I think I found the source, the culprit. But the research I did suggested that this was either going to be a rather fun and interesting fix on my own, or once the product goes, just get a new strand. So I got a new strand. And I was peeved because this was only the second year that I've used these lights, and they're LEDs and all that stuff. It's supposed to last longer, more energy efficient, all the stuff. So I went back, and of course it was way too the warranty I couldn't exchange them at Lowe's. They suggested I call the manufacturer. Well, I didn't have the original bill of sale. I wasn't going down that road, so I just bought a new strand. Hooked them up. Seemed to be okay. Flipped the switch. Everything lit, and I thought all was cool. So all my exterior stuff is hooked up. We have like a little Grinch outside that holds lights. Those are lit. We have 2 small trees. Those were lit. Got 2 wreaths in the window with lights on them. Those are lit. All is happy. My wife comes home and pulls in and says everything looks great. So I'm like, all right, cool. I send a picture to the family in our mass text with all the family members. And after I send the picture, I'm down there relaxing. Yes, essentially. My wife turns to me and says, is one of those lights out, or is that where the connection is between the 2 strands? And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. So I zoomed in on the picture and I saw she was right. And I'm like, I know that's not a connection point because I had just been very intimate with those lights for the last 2 days. I know exactly where everything is, having messed around with them for 2 days in a row. So I go outside and look, and there's 1 bulb that's unlit on the new strand. And at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm not dealing with this. To heck with it. If I try and replace it, the whole strand's probably going to go out, and I'm back to square one. So that was my massive mishap this year. All of my lights are on except 1 bulb, and I'm with that.
Oh, you mean the twinkling bulb? The little bulbs aren't twinkling?
Yes. Little lights are not twinkling.
Yes, thank you.
Art.
Art. That's it. I'm sitting there going, is it what? It's been a long day. It's getting ready for the upcoming trip is not. Yeah, it's not been fun. That's a whole nother topic for another day.
Yes, we'll have to have a follow-up episode maybe in January or February about how the trip went.
Oh, yeah, okay, possibly. Well, we'll see how. Hold your horses now. Hold your horses.
Fair enough.
Rewind.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. We'll leave it at that.
Cool.
But any other mishaps going?
It took us longer to put everything up this year. Last year we did it in like 2 days. It took us almost like a week this time. And I was familiar. Like, yeah, and I was just like, by the 3rd or 4th day, I was not feeling it. I'm like, I just want this to be done and over with. And but by the time everything was up, my mood quickly switched to yay, I'm kind of in the mood and happy about all this being up now. We added a few more pieces this year, especially inside. So really happy with how the inside turned out. No bulbs there.
This is something to maybe think about looking at. These guys are they're better than the store-bought. More expensive, but they're definitely better than the store-bought Christmas lights, because they're all sealed Oh, here, this one, as you can see, like right here,
Yeah.
it's actually
Yeah.
sealed so water
Okay.
doesn't get down into it. So it's less likely, and it just they seem to work out a lot better.
Nice.
So
Okay.
that's what I've been trying to work towards. Getting all mine moved over to. It's going to take a while, but as
Yeah.
you wait, as you can see,
Yeah. They have C9s?
they do. They
Okay.
do.
That's what I like to put on my outside roof and gutters.
They have, yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, there they are. Excellent.
They have the screw-in kind. So that's another option too. Is you could get just the base thing, and then buy all the bulbs,
Yeah.
and then you buy the little washers that go in underneath, like right in here. You push the washer on, rubber washer on, you screw it down in there, and it seals it as well too.
Okay.
So that's something to look at.
Yeah, definitely gonna have to deal with this over time and probably get a higher quality or something like that. Which it threw me off too because they were GE. It's not like it's a bad manufacturer or something, but
Yeah. No. Yeah.
how about you? Did you have any mishaps? It looks like your end product was excellent, so
Yeah. That's really not this year's.
oh,
I don't
okay.
have a picture of this year's yet. Well, I do, or maybe I do. Is that here? Wait. No, that's not. Yeah, that's not this year's. There's been a lot of problems with it. That's all I can say. It's where do you want me to start? Let's put it that way. I could start by
How about
following.
this? How much more do you have left to do?
Oh, it's up and live.
Oh, perfect.
Um,
Well, that's good.
Let me see if I can do this. I'm trying. Talk amongst yourselves. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay. Hey, there we go. Okay, now if I can open. There we go. Let's move that over to here. We have to minimize. Folks, it's always fun, with technical issues, and yeah.
There's always some involved, it seems.
No. At some point here. There we go. Now, let's stop sharing that one and present, share screen, and then do this one. No, that's for Christmas. No, it's not gonna show up. Oh, maybe that's it. No, I don't know. Is it the Chrome tab? Well, if I do this, okay, there we go. Technical issues. Yeah, that's what mine.
Oh, okay.
It's all set up and live, animation and all. I had to redo it because we, redid the front down here, so lost a couple things down there. But it's pretty much back. I still have room for to be able to add more stuff if I wanted to. But it just to go off what you were saying, it it took a lot more time than expected. I had a computer that I have a computer that the Christmas show software was running on died on me after a power went off and then came back on, killed the power supply. Just sequencing the songs just took a lot longer. Then it just was not a fun hooking stuff up. Whenever I thought I had everything hooked up, I had 2 or 3 things not hooked up still after I was doing some testing. So it just, it's not, it wasn't fun. The end result, as you can see, was, great, but it just wasn't that fun this year.
Yeah,
Just with all the technical issues,
it's a process and a chore. And I don't know about you, but when I get up on the roof, like I probably should wear gloves, but I can't, I lose dexterity when I put gloves on, especially when I'm trying to do my hook underneath the eave on the roof and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I sliced my finger really
Ow.
badly this year because I reached down into the gutter and hit like a sharp part. Didn't feel it and didn't even realize it until I was like halfway done, and I could just see blood gushing out of my finger, and I'm like, oh, that's a problem. So yeah, even non-technical issues this year, physical issues this year.
Ouch. That, yeah, I know what you mean by the not, you can't really do gloves. Yeah, that's many years of doing, yes, no, freezing my fingers, coming in to warm them underwater, and yeah, but as as you saw with the end result, is it's still fun,
Yeah,
the
it's a
end
labor of
result,
love. It's a labor of love.
and like over here, of course, I got Charlie Brown and Snoopy. You can't see Charlie Brown, but Charlie Brown's here, and I got candy canes running down here. Um, next year I have candy canes over here. I want to actually light those up and make those separate channels.
Okay.
So, those will dance as well too. So,
Cool.
but it's all kind of fun.
Nice.
But anyways, I think, do you have anything else?
No, I'm just glad it's done and get to enjoy it for a month now.
Yeah, that's, next year I want to try to get to, the city that's nearby. I want to try to get, in sync whenever they do their light up night. I do, my light up night.
There you go.
So instead of a week and a half late, I want to actually do it a week and a half early and have everything working fine.
Yeah. Fair enough. We always try to get ours up by the end of November, very early December, so that we can at least enjoy them for a solid month. Because we won't take ours down until probably the day after New Year's.
Oh, okay.
We get family that comes up and visits us for New Year's, so we like to keep everything up so that they can still see it.
I try to stretch it out as far as I can. I usually go to the middle of January if I can. I like to be the last one to turn out the lights, I guess you could say.
Fair enough. Last to turn out the lights, last to close up the garage. I get it.
Well, speaking of closing up the garage, I think the manager's here beating us over the head, asking, okay, it's time to close. Get out. Yeah.
Fair enough. You got a trip to prepare for anyway.
Well, yeah, this is true. Well, yeah, there again, I say that's a whole nother ball of wax there.
Yeah.
But do you have any, plans for the holiday season other than, visiting the family and friends and all that stuff?
Nothing major, just the normal visiting family and friends, and then having family over around New Year's. We always watch the college football playoff because we're a big sport ball family. So, yeah, that's what we've got lined up this year.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Okay. Before we get in any more trouble, and they kick us out and shut us down, oh, wait a second, I own the garage. What am I talking about? Anyways, we've flapped our gums enough, so I'm going to let you go, Mr. Ryan, Mr. Humbug. And hope you all have, you especially have you and the family and everyone have a wonderful holiday, wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year and all that. And hope everyone else has a wonderful holiday. So
absolutely. Wish you the same, Chris, and wish all of you out there a healthy holiday season and a happy New Year.
Hang on one second, and I'll get to grab the keys here, and we will. Okay, do that. I think I got the keys ready, so let's see if we can do this. But anyways, Y'all have a wonderful Christmas and see you next year.
Till next time, folks. Take care.